Hello, my name is Sean Hopple, and I am a MALET student in my final term at Empire State College. My primary mentor is Nathan Whitley Grassi. Today I am presenting on my final project, entitled Training Curriculum on Auxiliary Aids to Assist Learning Disabled Students Pursuing Higher Education. My final project is a curriculum design. My goals are to add to a culture of best practices in the development of resources to assist qualifying students with a disability. Attempt to provide a one-stop shop for training needs. Attempt to design a course flexible enough to be used at colleges, but also by assistive technology trainers at independent living centers. And to help shift the emphasis away from a reactive model to a proactive model of providing disability services. This program is geared for students transitioning from high school to college who have a history of disability. This includes any student who had an IEP or Section 504 plan, even if they did not use their accommodations while in school. Students without an IEP, but with a documented disability, would also benefit due to the more rigorous nature of academic work in college. I selected 4 tools to create learning modules on. The decision was based on a review of the most commonly used auxiliary aids for learning disability. Ultimately, the following tools were chosen. Dragon Naturally Speaking, which is a speech-to-text software. Read and Write Gold, which is a text-to-speech software. Sonocent Audio Note Taker, which is a note-taking aid and lecture capture software. And ultimately LiveScribe Echo Smart Pen, which is also a note-taking aid. The curriculum design is housed within CourseSites.com, which is built on the Blackboard model. The course does require that students have access to the assistive tools as an accommodation via their Office of Accessibility Resources or Disability Services, or that they have access to the software or hardware tools through private resources. The course is asynchronous and designed to take 16 hours or less. The 16-hour time limit is based on the New York State reimbursement policy for assistive technology training as established by the Vocational Rehabilitation Department, also known as Access VR. This course is designed to partner with Regional Independent Living Centers or AT training centers, an example of which is the University at Buffalo Center for Assistive Technology, or UBCAT, which provides a large number of the AT training for disabled students at colleges across Western New York. Students who learn to use assistive technology as a reasonable accommodation before they fall behind in their courses stand to benefit the most from their use. This is common sense. The reasonable accommodation model in higher education is often reactive in nature, waiting for students to self-identify and request services, sometimes after there is already a barrier or problem. This often creates gaps where students fall through the cracks at larger institutions, where they may wait for training before being able to engage the software in their courses. By advertising and/or offering this program during orientation, a school can essentially flip the script on disability services and have the student be ready on day 1. Flexible module format allows students to orient to as many technologies as would be helpful for them based on their individual functional limitation. Training will be multimodal, written, video-based, and hands-on. Assessment will take place via quiz, discussion, and student-led demonstration of the tool and its features. So let's talk about the tools. Dragon Naturally Speaking will listen to your voice and convert your spoken word into typed text. On the screen is an image of a student using the software. Another image in the lower quadrant of the slide gives an example of what the correction menu would look like. In this example, the student has voiced the following command: select town. At that point, the word town is highlighted and a correction menu appears, so that if the student would like to change the word town to any of the available options, they would simply need to say choose 1 or choose 2, depending on which word they would like to replace it with. If they do not see their choice in the list, they can always use the spell that command and spell the word out. Dragon, over time, will get better and become more acclimated to the way that you speak. Errors will decrease, and your need to use the correction menu will also decrease over time. Read and Write Gold is a literacy software with a number of features. The two most important features that I will discuss here in this presentation are the ability to read back text. So, for example, if a student would like to have their textbooks or assignments read to them, the computer would be able to do so. All a student needs to do is highlight the block of text and push the play button on the Read and Write Gold toolbar. There is also a screenshot reader in case students are unable to select the text. For example, if they are provided an inaccessible or image-based PDF that contains text, they can draw a box around the text and the software will read it to them. Another great feature is their Highlight the Web feature. Just as if you had a physical book, this software allows you to essentially go from web page to web page, highlighting pertinent information. At the end of your studying, you can collect the highlights into a study sheet that the software will create for you. It will include the original source website URLs for where you sourced the content, but will keep everything coded by color. In this way, you could use one color for important points, one for needs further review, and one for this would make a good quote in a paper, and organize and create study sheets easily with the click of a button across a number of web pages. This also interoperates with Word documents, so you could combine studying web resources and digital resources that are on your computer and create easy study guides using this software. Sonocent Audio Note Taker is a lecture capture or lecture recording software. Essentially, you bring your laptop to class attached to a microphone that records your professor speaking. While it's recording, it will create what is called visual audio. That is represented by the color blocks that you see in the image on your screen. Along with that is a text pane where you can type notes as you traditionally would. And on the far left is an images pane where you can upload slides from PowerPoint or any other resources, materials, or handouts that your faculty member has sent you. In this way, you have the visual image of the handout or slides, your typed text notes, and also the visual audio that is chunked by sentence. Every time your professor pauses, it will create a chunk, which can then be color-coded. The default categories are important, needs review, flagged, flagged for deletion. There are a number of different customizable categories. In the context of a STEM course, you could theoretically use this to code all sentences regarding the cardiovascular system red, and then across a number of lectures, skip only to the points pertinent to the cardiovascular system if you were studying across a number of lectures for something like a midterm or final exam on the cardio system. This is an especially good tool for subjects that jump around or often involve multiple topics being taught at once. The LiveScribe Echo Smart Pen. This is a hardware device, unlike the other three softwares which mainly operate through software with use of accessories. For example, Dragon usually is accompanied by a headset, and there will need to be a microphone present if you're using Sonocent. But hardware is the main player in the Smart Pen. This is essentially a physical pen that has a scanner built in that will scan and digitize your writing as you are writing on a smart notebook. The Smart Pen must be paired with the smart notebook. There is an image on the screen that shows the pen and also the command panel on the bottom of the smart notebook. The student, when ready, will click record, which will begin a recording session. As they're writing, the pen is scanning their handwriting. They're also able to play back and use other bookmarking features to jump around within the lecture. This would be best in situations where using your computer to take notes, with Sonocent, for example, would not be the best option, or classes where you're on the go, moving around, and just need to jot down some quick notes. A sample module from the design is the Sonocent module. It is structured as follows: video and written instructional content, followed by a quiz assessment within the LMS, enrichment via discussion, a practical activity to demonstrate ability to use the tool, and a reflective writing assignment to identify gaps in training and reinforce learning. If there are gaps identified, the instructor at that point would step in and refer back to earlier learning content in order to bridge any gap in understanding use of the tool. A sample lesson from within the module would be using Sonocent Audio Note Taker with the Cornell method. Very quickly, the Cornell method is one way of taking notes in which you split sections on the page in order to contain certain types of notes. Section 1 has traditional notes. Section 2 has questions, main points, visual clues, or other cues to jog your memory. And the third is a summary that is synthesized from all the other information and occurs later while studying. We are able to adopt this method to use with Sonocent because in addition to the panes I've already discussed, image pane where the slides are, the text pane where your notes are, and the audio pane where the visual audio of your professor is, there is a fourth pane that can be turned on in the software called references. We are going to usurp references and actually use that as the cues or clues pane. So questions, keywords, definitions would go there. In this way, we have most components of the Cornell method. The last component, the synthesized summary, would actually be recorded by the student and placed in the audio pane and coded with a separate color, so that you would always know that, for example, black colored audio is your summary of all of the notes that you have taken during your studying time. In this way, the software allows for a digital version of Cornell using emerging technologies. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation about my final project. If you have any questions about my design, please feel free to reach out. Email is the best way to reach me. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.